Time to decide who fits best for the Jamaica men's national team due to Isaac Hayden absence. Join Premier 7 right now for the big chat. Jamaican fans, we've got a big decision to make. With Isaac Hayden being absent for the CONCACAF Gold Cup, it could be potentially the same for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers later on this year. And with the Reggae Boyz missing out on a key central defensive midfield player, who are the options that we should go for? We can understand that we try to use Damion Lowe, and also we pair beside him at times a Lattibeaduire. However, what about a Jonathan Russell? What about a Roy Anderson? And how about even a Brandon Cover? In this video, I'll be making the necessary assessment to see how well we can make the rightful decision. Time to decide who fits best for the Jamaica men's national team due to Isaac Hayden absence. Now, this topic was generated from an important poll that I shared with the question that states, with Isaac Hayden injuries, is it a real concern for the Jamaica men's national team? Who would be the best backup option? From that 309 votes, which really shows that you guys are very keen on Jamaica midfield. 51% swings in favor of Brandon Cover, 21% stating Roy Anderson, and the balance goes between Damion Lowe and others from that 20 likes and 12 comments. Now, I think that with Damion Lowe at this stage, it would have been lower, seeing that Jamaica have lost against Guatemala, and he played a game that we want to forget. So people, before I dive into the meat of the matter today, Premier 7 have 1,977 subscribers. If you're new, please go ahead and subscribe, because I am on the road of reaching to 2,000 subscribers, and I am hoping then that this video will be the one that will give me that title. 2,000 subscribers I'm aiming for before the month of June ends, so I'm imploring you that go ahead and subscribe to get a lot more contents from this channel. And if you are already a subscriber, then you know that you should continue to watch, like, comment, and share the contents with others so that they can become engaged. Now, I just want to talk about the Lowe and Lattibeaudire midfield experiments. It is time for us to stop thinking about them, to say then that these two guys should get a chance to play. Because let's be real, we have seen this below the management of Emerald Grimson, and it did not work. And noticeable that Damion Lowe is a player who is very aggressive in terms of his tackles, and he's big and powerful. That doesn't please the DM role. And seeing that he's a player that loves to be committed to the badge, I mean, nothing is wrong with that, but he is more so of a center back than a defensive midfield player. And in this case, it shows in that even though he's a physical player in the national team, either way or either place that you placed him, he's lack the IQ of what a central defensive midfielder should do. And besides, his passing range and control under pressure are just not consistent enough to build up play from the defensive line in the midfield. On the other hand, Lattibeaudire is also a player who was tried in the spot, and I spoke about Emerald Grimson. The same thing rolls over under the management of Steve McLaren, and it is questionable who is making these decisions, because we as fans have been watching these players for a good while now, and we know then that these players are not the best option for the midfield. So even though Lattibeaudire is more so composed and calm with the ball and under pressure, he fits into a position-based system, and I don't see Jamaica having a position-based system as yet, because Majority of the times, we play counter-attacking football or we play long passes. So it will be like an endurance for a Joel Lattibeaduire. But the thing is, when it comes on to shielding the backline, breaking up plays, and winning duels, he lacks the biting and the cutting edge. And that instinct is what a central defensive midfielder would surely have. So, I mean, that is what we see obviously from an Isaac Hayden. And I mean, I am proud to say that I am happy to know that he made the decision to play for Jamaica, even though he came in a bit late. So, while the experiments of a Joel Lattibeaudire and a Damion Lowe looked good by way of the thoughts in the past, it is obvious that from those times up to this point in time, they should just stick to being defensive players in the back line, nowhere close to the midfield. All right, so I am going to dive into the options of the players who I think could play this position. First on the list, Jonathan Russell. Now, this guy is about 6'4", and he has the solid experience playing in the EFL. So it's very much noticed to be a player who have that strong base, that strong understanding of what it means to play in the championship, right? And of course, it proves to us then that even if he's not in the championship, whichever clubs he play for in England, the style of play is somewhat similar. Very physical, very dominant, and he would have that understanding of what it means to play in such conditions. So this guy's experience in the EFL is what we should understand, and is naturally a defensive type of player, similar to a Isaac Hayden, whereas IQ is concerned. Yes, we can know by heart that Isaac Hayden is a better defensive midfield player based on experience, based on technical skills. But John Russell is a player who is somewhat close. We can see that for Jamaica men's national team, his ideal position, just to say when Isaac Hayden is there, is to play as a 8 or a player who, yes, who gets the chance to go forward with more license because he comes up with some golden chances as well, and he did put them away. And also as a player who we can say that can help Isaac Hayden just in case he move out of position, he can fit in and make some strong and some hard tackles. And the thing is about this guy is very calm. He reads the game quite well, and he's not the type of player who you will think will get into trouble like a Damion with some reckless tackles. So I mean, it is obvious that he's not the most mobile player, but he provides a balance that the team would surely need. So he will help players like Bailey and Demario Gray to play with more freedom further up the pitch, knowing that there is a stable presence behind them. So it is understand that this guy is not the most flashy player, but I mean, when it comes down to structure, his IQ is on point to say then that if you don't have an Isaac Hayden, then this guy could potentially be the man to play in that position. And people, I am going to even do a comparison between him and other players for which I'm going to mention. Just two more players. So the next one on the list is a Brandon Cover. Brandon Cover, I don't think, even if a player has been absent right now for the national team, he will be drafted in the CONCACAF Gold Cup. So I think a Brandon Cover will be for a futuristic time, like for the World Cup qualifiers that are going to play later down the year. Now, Brandon Cover, I have done a video about him talking about the importance of him being a defensive midfield player because naturally that is his ideal position. So he's somewhat of a fan favorite, somebody who has been really hyped because of what they see, what the fan base have seen, that he's very sharp, composed, and really to be a dangerous player for the national team, not to hinder us from progressing, but to be a pain for opposition teams. And basically, all of his traits is a reflection of what the defensive midfield player is. So maybe he come in to be like a future replacement if we don't see anyone else to take over the mantle from an Isaac Hayden. But I mean, right now, as I've mentioned before, for the Gold Cup, he was not drafted into the squad, so he will be unavailable. So right now for the Gold Cup, he will not be the man to play in that DM role, and I think it will be somewhat of an unfortunate issue for Jamaica. But hoping then that if Isaac Hayden is actively fit, he will be the backup option just in case we want to rest Isaac Hayden and put him on as a substitute. Because the thing is about him, he's really calm in his in his approach to his play as well. He knows how to break up plays, and he suits that futuristic approach by with another coach if we don't have Steve McLaren to fit in that defensive midfield option. With more games under his belt, I think that this guy can become a very technical and very powerful player in that defensive midfield role. People, before I dive into the name of the other player, I would love for you guys to smash a like on the video and drop a comment based on what I have done so far. Who do you see as the best option to be the replacement for an Isaac Hayden due to his absence? For now, in the CONCACAF Gold Cup, I think maybe a Jonathan Russell or the other player which I'm going to talk about, but for the future scene, then it may more so be a Brandon Cover or any other person that may come up through the ranks. Now, the third person on the list is a K-Roy Anderson. Now, he's a young, energetic, and show a lot of promises at Charlton Athletic. He is more so known as a box-to-box midfielder for now. So, someone who brings energy and dynamics into the team, a person who can progress with the ball quite well. Still needs some more development, but he have that chance whenever he gets it to score goals. More so, he will put it away. So the thing is about him, it's not a case then that he is going to be the best option. Maybe in a 2-8 or 2 sitting players, he would work better. But for him to be the only player to sit and hold, then it can be somewhat of an hindrance, because the thing is, he is trying to develop his game better as a central midfielder. So, however, can he develop into an holding midfielder? Maybe, because I always say then that this guy reminds me of a Kamavinga in a slight way. It's like a slight reflection. So, to throw him into the defensive midfield role right now may be too much on him and maybe too soon. And I assume, if I'm correct, that he was drafted, correct me if I'm wrong, for the CONCACAF Gold Cup. If not, then that will be somewhat of a benefit for those players who are currently there. But he's still an excited talent, and you never know what can happen. Just in case you say, all right, I'm going to put him into this situation, he may surprise us. But right now, out of the 3 names, it is more so swinging in favor of Jonathan Russell and a Brandon Cover. So I want to just bring across a comparison for the players, like let's say Jonathan Russell compared with another player, to see then who will be the ideal option to play as the defensive midfielder. Jonathan Russell and Brandon Cover. So you're seeing here that these 2 players are very much known as English-based players, but they have that license to play for the Jamaica men's national team. So Jonathan Russell, you're seeing here that he's 24. Brandon Cover is 21. In terms of market value, it is obvious to say then that Jonathan Russell edged Brandon Cover by a long stretch. However, for the key part of the video here about these 2 players comparison-wise, Jonathan Russell is more so of a central midfield player. Brandon Cover is more so of a defensive midfield player. However, Jonathan Russell can play as a defensive midfielder, whereas Brandon Cover can play central midfield and a right back. So these guys can interchange in terms of their various positions. But I just want to dive more into the importance as to why one of these players would more so suit the system now to assist the Jamaica men's national team to go forward. Because let's be real, Casey Palmer is there, and I think he may be the man to play in the 8th position, but there can be some form of hindrance. Whereas if he plays with a Jonathan Russell, somebody in front of them would have to bring across the goals then. So looking on the market value, we are seeing here that Jonathan Russell edges a Brandon Cover, seeing that up on the bar, it shows that he has better development over time. There was a steady line here going across, but as he gets older, it shows that his market value has improved, and it proves to us then that this guy has been watched, he has been scouted by many, and he has been currently at Barnsley right now, which shows that he's progressing as a player. Now for Brandon Cover, still young in his career, he went to Port Vale at one point at age 21. Somewhat of a development took place there, and it showed that currently he is in the under 21s for Leicester, with his market value being 150k. So I think then, based on experience, based on transfer history, you can see here that Jonathan Russell has been more exposed. Barnsley, being the latest right now, but he started as an under 20, under 18 representative at Chelsea, going up into Barnsley. And for Brandon Cover, it is a few clubs. He will need some more experience to be a better player. So I think, even based on the statistics here, a lot more in favor of Jonathan Russell. For League One, 108 games, Championship 24, under 18s in the Premier League 29. So let's look at the totality here: 200 games, 26 goals, 7 assists. Brandon Cover 127, 14 goals, 3 assists. So I mean, in this case, even for the Jamaica men's national team, which is more important to state about right now, Jonathan Russell, as of March 27, 2023, was his debut, but so far 8 games, 3 assists. Brandon Cover, not much representative, assist him in to get into the national team. So on a holistic view, it has to be that Jonathan Russell is the best option to represent Jamaica at that stage. Yes, he's a central midfield player, but needing somebody right now is more mature, is more developed, is more of the selectable option right now for Jamaica to play in that defensive midfield role. And I've spoken about K-Roy Anderson, seeing that these two options, Jonathan Russell and Brandon Cover, has edged him. I don't think I need to even dive into the information to share about if K-Roy Anderson will be the best option to or above a K-Roy, above a Brandon Cover or a Jonathan Russell. So people, just to let you know now, based on what was being discussed, without any apology, Damion Lowe and Jonathan and Joel Lattibeaduire, they were given a go, but defensively in the midfield, they are not that type of player to even invert. By heart, these two players are defenders, and that is the reason why I would say right now, from a long time as well, keep Richard King in that defensive role as a defender. I wish not to see Richard King playing as a DM, because I wish for him to master his craft first, and if there's a need to convert, then fine. So Brandon Cover is not available right now, needs more time. K-Roy Anderson is promising but not quite ready for the anchor role, so which means that the more ready option is a Jonathan Russell. Maybe he's not going to be a continuous DM, for which I think he should not, but put him alongside a player who can at least provide that stability to cover the back line with them going up and down. It will be a better option for the Jamaica men's national team, because we have seen that in the past, and he has developed more in becoming a better central midfield player. So as to say, he's not the most flashy player, but he brings structure, he brings height, he brings discipline, and a bit of composure in the middle. So even though we got some goals from him before, we would love to see Jamaica having that defensive unit who can help the team to go forward, and him being that person to shield and others in front of him may be in a better state to score goals. Then I think the Jamaica men's national team have a chance to even somewhat come out of the group stage of the CONCACAF Gold Cup. So people, what is your say on the topic? Time to decide who fits best for the Jamaica men's national team due to Isaac Hayden's absence. I talk about it in a way to say then who is available right now compared to that of the future. The names were Jonathan Russell, Brandon Cover, and K-Roy Anderson. If you have anyone else who you'd like to state in the comment section, please do so. So right now it is Jonathan Russell who is going to lead the charge based on what I think. But if you disagree, you don't know, you can comment and Premier 7 will reply. So people, goodbye, take care. Until we meet again, we will have many more talks. Stay safe and be strong. One Jamaica.